This is about Chase Council Harrison, the scumbag from Rockledge, Florida. He went from low-level street punk to one of Brevard's biggest shit stains. How did he get there? Let's take a look at his past, present, and future, and of anything that he's been accused of but hasn't been convicted of. Let's take a look. Growing up, his life was far from perfect. By the time he was 2 years old, his parents were getting ready to get divorced, and I think it happened later after his dad had been charged with domestic violence. He stayed living with his mom, and it wasn't until he was 18 years old that he got his first arrest. And that was a DUI and a drug offense. He's found swerving, driving down the road. They found marijuana in baggies and a digital scale. So he was selling weed. Anyway, he's given 18 months of probation, 50 hours of community service. He did get a violation of probation when he failed to complete the DUI and victims awareness courses. Later, in July, the charges were dropped for the violation of parole, or probation, I'm sorry. And what happens? His probation officer came over with the search warrant 2 days later, and they found inside his house, they found a safe with meth in it, and they found meth on his dresser, a pill of olazapam, or whatever the hell that is, and marijuana joints, and a glass pipe with marijuana residue in it. And so I guess he kept his nose clean. It wasn't until 2015, after pretrial intervention and drug completion, that all charges were dismissed. Not dismissed completely. It was just the end of his probation, and that was it. I'd like to hear his mom's side, but she frickin' probably got tired of his shit with the cops coming around here and the drugs and bullshit. Just said, fuck off and move out, bitch. Grow up and be a man. So he moves out in his own place. Does he keep his freedom? No! There you go, back in jail. And what does he get charged with? Disorderly conduct for him and a friend beating somebody up at the Merritt Island Steak and Shake. God, this douchebag just does not think the fucking law applies to him. What a fucking asshole. It doesn't stop from there, it only gets fucking worse. So smiling douchebag Johnson thinks the law doesn't apply to him or they can't make him stick. Well, that would be wrong! Because 4 years later, at age 28, he gets charged with trafficking cocaine. Notice there's no smile, not even a little smirk of a smile on his face. You know why? Because the motherfucker knows he's facing decades behind bars. But you think that's the worst? Not even close. That shit stain is now charged with first-degree murder, armed burglary of a dwelling, and cruelty to animals. The sheriff's department didn't even bother taking another frickin' mugshot because he was already sitting in frickin' jail because he couldn't bond out on the drug charges. What a fucking loser. To make matters even fucking worse, he gets charged with drug trafficking using the RICO Act. See, before when he got busted for trafficking, he didn't give up everything because he still had 600 grams of cocaine in a safe at his mother's house. What a fucking loser! So how does he go from this guy to this guy to this fucking monster? Real simple. The sheriff complains about it, and it's called our justice system.
Hey, mister, what's this?
Oh, this? It's the revolving door.
Cool. What's it for?
A bunch of things, mostly making money.
Neat. I like making money.
Don't we all?
Before, if you fucked around, you found out. But today, not so much. Today we have legislators running in self-preservation mode. When the wind blows one way, that's the direction they go. It flip-flops over because their constituents want it. That's the direction they go because they want to stay in frickin' office. Since criminals know the laws are so lax, they try and push their limit to see what they can get away with. But you know what's at stake? Public safety. This weakening of the laws and this revolving door of justice that we have has created this incubator environment for the criminal mind, only to get worse because they know they're not going to get really their ass handed to them, and they're probably going to leave a couple times with a slap on the wrist. Well, now you got Chase Harrison arrested for murder. But he's been accused of much, much more. Since I can only see what he's been arrested for and not what he's been accused of, I went to Facebook, and look what I found. Seek and ye shall find. This person goes on to divulge that Chase has been accused of a drive-by shooting. Ain't that special? This person knows Chase on a personal level because it addresses him specifically. And this person's tired of his shit because they knew he was going to go to jail. And she's praying for his blackened soul. I just wonder what else he's been accused of, but he hasn't been arrested for. Anybody know of anything else? Please let me know. If it's not bad enough that there's the revolving doors of justice, there's something else going on. It's inside his frickin' coconut. And that's his narcissistic personality. You just can't change that. Probably started at a very young age with his mom throwing him out of the house because he refused to listen to her. And so there you go. He tried to take advantage of mom. He lacked empathy to anybody else. He required this excessive admiration. You can see where that took place on some of his drug charges, where he's talking to his supplier, beating the guy up, saying, hey, bro, this and that, and really talking down to him. He didn't care about anybody but himself, and he hung out with a bunch of losers that did the same. While being consumed with narcissism, he found 5 other dumb fucks that were in the same boat. And they all have their own personal problems with narcissism. I've looked into each and every one of them. These fucktards should have ran from each other, but no! They didn't listen to Denzel and take his advice. Instead, the perfect storm was created. Narcissism with the criminal mind. They looked for Chase's leadership with Tony Davila's plan. Their plan was to rob Matthew Nicol, his roommate, who was the actual target of their drugs and money. But what they ended up doing was killing Matthew's dog Mako and murdering Matthew. Remember I said they all had a bunch of narcissism? Well, Chase was at the top of the heap. And right here on page 20, investigators asking Tyler Graffing why that particular day. And Graffing said they were trying to do it way earlier. And every time somebody would bail or it just happened to have played out that way, they'd started talking about in December, and they were trying to go that way. At first, it was going to be Tony, Dave, Corey, and Brian, and that's how it was supposed to be. Well, it wasn't that way, because Chase had to get involved. Remember, one of the traits of a narcissist is this inflated ego. Originally, Chase was just going to finance it, and he wasn't going to go in. Well, he tells the guys to push them so that they'll go in, that he's going to buy them these patches so that nobody inside the house will shoot back, the ones that make him look like a cop and stuff. And so he decides that he's got to go in because he's the grand poobah. Everybody's idiots and Chase will lead. The great Chase is on the scene. Page 68 and 69, Tyler in his interview is asked, it said, okay, so he indicated about this was possibly going to happen back in December, back in January, and people would bail. And then Graffing replies, well, Corey bailed at first, said he didn't want to do it. Dave was acting like he didn't want to do it. And I guess they all just, after they got the patches and stuff, that made him feel like it would go smooth. And so Reynolds asked, was there a plan to do it differently? And they go, well, yeah, we're just going to run in the house. And Graffing says, okay, but the patches and helmets and insignias became part of the planning process over a period of time. And Graffing says yes. Chase's narcissism allows him to manipulate the bunch to do whatever he wants them to do. This was an incredibly smart question asked by Agent Reynolds, because before, Tyler sort of just seemed to emulate that. We're just going to go running in with our camos on, guns a-blazing, we'll get our dope and we'll run on out. But then, by Agent Reynolds asking this, it shows that the plan was thought about, rethought about. How can we manipulate these other guys to get in despite some not wanting to go in? And just this constant building. First, we're going to have the black attire. It'll make us look like police officers. Oh, wait a second. We'll get patches too. Oh, we'll get helmets to protect us. Oh, wait. We'll get the suppressor to shoot the dog. We'll shoot the dog first to make sure the dog doesn't bite us. That way we can't leave any blood or DNA samples if we get attacked. In the end, all 6 of these guys are responsible for the murder of Matthew Nicol and the death of his dog, Mako. This last picture of Chase Harrison is like looking at a portrait of a captain of a sinking ship. A captain's supposed to go down with a ship, but this piece of shit is dragging as many bodies down as he can with him. He doesn't give a fuck about anybody else but himself. It's all self-preservation mode, like most narcissists. They just don't give a fuck, and this fucker doesn't care about anybody else but him fucking self. What a fucking loser. And I can prove it. So let's take a look at what shit-stained Chase is doing to save his ass. I've looked at each and every one of Chase's arrests, and I understand the file structure, how an attorney thinks, why they seal records, and why they don't, why things get labeled confidential. But here's a new one on me. If you see this one that says it's got the little gold lock. And when you click on it, it says view on request. That means you can see it, but you've got to be, you got to show who you are. The rest you can look at anonymously. And the reason why this is strange is this is the first arrest for his cocaine charges. Now, usually an attorney will get a bunch of records sealed, but not now. They're leaving it wide open for everybody to look at everything they have to see here. Any type of information that they have against Chase with this. And so, why did the attorney not get it sealed? This made me raise an eyebrow and think that he's got so many charges against him. Where would he talk? Well, it would probably be the most serious charge. My thinking was that the RICO charge was the most serious, even beyond the other trafficking and the murder charge of Matthew Nicol. But I was wrong. Now, I can't say with 100% accuracy that that's what Chase is doing, but the files speak for themselves and kind of emulate that, because these are the files related to the Matthew Nicol murder. And why are all of these sealed? All of these are sealed. So what he could be doing is giving up information for other cases. His attorneys might be thinking that by giving up information during this hearing related to other cases will lower the severity of his prison sentence. You see, because usually sealed files means that there's an informant or some other sensitive information there, and it's usually the defendant, meaning Chase, giving up information. And how I stumbled across this thought process was when I was looking at this order of protection. And this was in the murder charge. And at the top right, you'll see the 3 case numbers. Well, the top one is the, all 3 of them is the trafficking charge, the murder charge, and then a RICO charge, all wrapped up into one order of protection. The funny thing is what I noticed is it's the Murphy and Downs Law Office. And so I sort of thought, God, why aren't they sealing their records for the drug and the RICO charges? Well, there's nothing there, and it's all open, but they're sealed in the murder charge. So guess what? Chase is spilling the beans, and this poor baby was crying in this protective order. They're pulling me out and taking pictures of my tattoos. Please stop. I'm Chase. I'm the Grand Poobah. Fuck you, Chase, you fucking punk-ass bitch. Own it, motherfucker. Your stupid ass fell for Davila's 9th grade educated ass plan. And you fell for it in a big way because you put up the money for it. You manipulated the other troglodytes to go along with this stupid plan even after they tried to back out. This band of incorrigible fuckwads is all your fucking fault, loser. And now, in true narcissist form, you're fucking giving up info about other cases. Well, guess what, bitch? I don't think the fucking state gives a fuck about it. So there you have it. That's what happened with Chase to go from this young guy to this fucking monster of Brevard. What a fucking loser. Right in hell, bitch.